Sweetheart, women can't handle these rigs, especially not cross-country hauls. The foreman's voice booms across the trucking company depot as 25-year-old Maria Santos stands beside a massive 18-wheeler, her CDL license in hand and job application already submitted. Behind him, a dozen male truckers are loading their vehicles, some smirking at the exchange, already placing bets on how long she'll last. What the foreman doesn't know is that Maria spent 4 years driving supply convoys through the most dangerous roads in Iraq and Afghanistan, where one wrong move meant hitting an IED that could vaporize an entire truck, and she never lost a single vehicle or soldier under her watch. Before we see how this plays out, hit that subscribe button if you love watching. People prove the doubters completely wrong, and drop a comment telling us about the hardest job you ever had to prove you could do. Maria grew up in a family of truckers. Her father drove long-haul routes across the country for 30 years. Her uncle owned a small freight company. Her older brother started driving the moment he turned 18. The family business was trucks, highways, and the open road. But when Maria said she wanted to drive too, her father laughed. "That's not work for girls, Mia. You should go to college, get an office job, something safe and respectable." Maria tried the college route. She lasted 1 semester before she realized sitting in classrooms talking about theories and concepts made her want to scream. She wanted to do something real, something that mattered. So at 19 she joined the army, not because she was particularly patriotic or because she had military family. She joined because a recruiter told her they needed truck drivers, and the army would train her for free and pay her to do it. Basic training was rough but manageable. Then she went to Fort Leonard Wood for advanced individual training as a motor transport operator. She learned to drive everything from Humvees to massive heavy equipment transporters. She learned convoy operations, defensive driving, and how to conduct pre-combat inspections. 6 months after joining, Maria was deployed to Iraq. She was assigned to a transportation company that ran supply convoys between bases. Food, water, ammunition, equipment, mail, everything the troops needed to survive came on trucks, and Maria was one of the drivers making sure it got there. The job was terrifying. Iraqi roads were death traps. Insurgents planted improvised explosive devices everywhere. Roadside bombs, pressure plates, command-detonated charges. Every pile of trash, every dead animal, every pothole could be hiding something that would kill you. Maria drove those roads for 12 months. She learned to read the terrain like a book. She could spot disturbed earth from 100 meters away. She knew which routes were safer and which ones were suicide. She developed instincts that kept her alive when other drivers died. Her convoy was hit 3 times during that first deployment. Once by an IED that destroyed the truck behind her. Once by small arms fire from a building they were passing. Once by an RPG that missed her truck by inches. Each time Maria kept driving. That was the job. When contact happened, you didn't stop. You accelerated through the kill zone, got to safety and dealt with casualties after. She came home after that deployment with a combat action badge and a reputation as one of the best drivers in her unit. Then she volunteered to go back. She did another tour in Iraq, then one in Afghanistan. By the time she left the army at 23, Maria had driven over 50,000 miles in combat zones. She had been in dozens of firefights. She had survived multiple IED strikes. She had brought her convoys through situations that would make civilian truckers quit on the spot. Now she was back in Texas looking for work. She had her CDL license, her clean driving record, and 4 years of experience operating vehicles in the most dangerous conditions imaginable. But apparently that didn't matter to Ray Cooper, the foreman at Cooper Freight Solutions. Maria had walked into his office that morning with her resume and application. Cooper was a big man in his 50s with a beer gut and an attitude that suggested he had been running this company the same way for 20 years and saw no reason to change. He looked at her application, saw the Army service and nodded. "We appreciate your service, but we're looking for experienced drivers. This job requires—" "I have 4 years of experience," Maria interrupted. "I drove convoys in Iraq and Afghanistan. Over 50,000 miles in combat zones." Cooper's expression didn't change. "That's not the same as civilian trucking. These are commercial vehicles with specific regulations and requirements. I have my CDL. I passed all the tests. I know the regulations." Cooper leaned back in his chair. "Look, I'm sure you're very capable, But these are big rigs. 18-wheelers carrying valuable cargo across the country. The job requires strength, endurance, and the ability to handle emergencies on the road. It's not something most women can do. Maria felt her jaw tighten. Most women, or me specifically. Cooper held up his hands. I'm just being honest. We've never had a female driver here, and I don't think now is the time to start. Why don't you look into dispatcher work? That would be more suitable. Maria stood up. Thank you for your time. She walked out of the office, past the loading docks where drivers were preparing for their routes. Some of them had overheard the conversation through the open window. One of them, a younger guy with a scraggly beard, called out, "Hey, sweetheart, if you need a real job, the diner down the street is hiring waitresses." His buddies laughed. Maria kept walking. She had dealt with worse than some ignorant truckers, but it still burned. She had proven herself in ways these men couldn't imagine, and it meant nothing because of her gender. She sat in her truck in the parking lot, trying to decide what to do next. She could try another company. There were plenty of freight operations in Texas, but if Cooper's attitude was common in the industry, she would face the same thing everywhere. Her phone rang. It was a number she didn't recognize. Hello? The voice on the other end was professional and direct. Is this Maria Santos? Former Army Transportation Company? Yes, who is this? My name is Catherine Walsh. I run a logistics company called Patriot Transport. We specialize in hiring veterans. I got your name from a database of recently separated soldiers with commercial driving experience. Are you looking for work? Maria sat up straighter. Yes, I am. Can you come to my office this afternoon? I have a job that might interest you. 3 hours later, Maria was sitting across from Catherine Walsh in a modern office building on the other side of Houston. Catherine was in her 40s, sharp-eyed and professional. The walls of her office were covered with photos of trucks and maps of routes across the country. Catherine slid a folder across the desk. I'm going to be direct with you, Maria. I started this company 5 years ago because I was tired of seeing qualified veterans struggle to find work in the civilian world. We hire former military drivers exclusively. Everyone on my team has deployed. Everyone understands what real driving under pressure looks like. Maria opened the folder. Inside was a job offer. The pay was better than what Cooper Freight had been advertising. The benefits were solid. The routes were long-haul cross-country runs. There's a catch, Catherine said. These aren't easy routes. We handle time-sensitive cargo for clients who need absolute reliability. Medical supplies, emergency equipment, perishable goods. If we say we'll deliver by a certain time, we deliver. No excuses. Weather, traffic, breakdowns, whatever. We handle it and we get there. Maria looked up. That sounds like a challenge? Catherine smiled. Most civilian drivers can't handle the pressure, but I'm betting someone who drove through Fallujah won't be intimidated by a snowstorm in Wyoming. When do I start? Monday, Maria's first route was a run from Houston to Seattle. 2,200 miles. She was hauling medical equipment for 3 hospitals. Delivery deadline was 48 hours. She made it in 43. Her second route was Houston to Boston. Emergency supplies for a disaster relief organization. She hit a major storm system in Pennsylvania that shut down half the interstate. Other drivers pulled over to wait it out. Maria kept driving. She had driven through sandstorms in Iraq, where visibility was 0. She had navigated mountain roads in Afghanistan under enemy fire. A rainstorm in Pennsylvania was nothing. She delivered on time. By her 3rd month with Patriot Transport, Maria had the best on-time record in the company. She never missed a deadline, never had an accident, never complained about difficult assignments. Catherine started giving her the hardest routes, the ones other drivers didn't want. The ones with tight deadlines and challenging conditions, Maria crushed every single one. Word spread in the industry about the former Army driver who was setting records at Patriot Transport. Other companies started trying to recruit her, but Maria stayed loyal to Catherine, who had given her a chance when others wouldn't. 6 months after she started, Maria was driving through western Texas on a midnight run when she saw something that made her slow down. A truck was pulled over on the side of the highway, hood up, hazard lights flashing. Maria checked her mirrors and pulled over behind it. She grabbed her flashlight and walked up to investigate. The truck was from Cooper Freight Solutions. The driver was the same young guy with the scraggly beard who had made the waitress comment. He was standing by the engine looking frustrated and helpless, He looked up when Maria approached, and his face went pale with recognition. "Oh, it's you." Maria shone her light on the engine. "What's the problem?" He hesitated, clearly embarrassed. "I don't know. It just died. I think it's the fuel system, but I can't figure it out." Maria looked at the engine for 30 seconds, then reached in and adjusted something. "Try it now." The driver climbed in and turned the key. The engine roared to life. He got out, stunned. "How did you know what to do?" Maria closed the hood. "I spent 4 years keeping trucks running in the desert, with limited tools and no mechanics. You learn to fix things fast or you die." She turned to walk back to her truck. "Wait," the driver called out. He looked ashamed. "I'm sorry for what I said." At the depot. "I was an idiot." Maria stopped and looked back at him. "Yeah, you were. But here's some advice. The next time you see someone who looks different, or doesn't fit your idea of what a trucker should be, remember that you don't know their story. You don't know what they've done or what they're capable of. Maybe give them a chance before you judge." She got back in her truck and drove away, leaving him standing there. A month later, Catherine called Maria into her office. "Sit down, we need to talk." Maria's stomach dropped. Had she messed up somehow? Catherine slid a newspaper across the desk. "There's an article about our company in the industry journal." They interviewed several of our drivers. Read the highlighted section. Maria read it. The section was about her. It described her military service, her driving record, and her success at Patriot Transport. The article called her one of the best long-haul drivers in the country. But what caught Maria's attention was the quote at the end. It was from Ray Cooper, the foreman who had turned her away. The quote said, "I made a mistake when I dismissed Maria Santos. She's proven to be exactly the kind of driver every company wants. I judged her based on outdated assumptions instead of her qualifications. I've since changed our hiring practices to ensure we evaluate all candidates fairly, regardless of gender." Maria looked up at Catherine. "He actually admitted he was wrong?" Catherine nodded. "More than that. He contacted me asking if we would be interested in partnering on veteran hiring initiatives. He wants to learn from what we're doing." Maria sat back, processing this. 1 year ago, she had walked out of Cooper's office feeling defeated and angry. Now he was using her success as a reason to change his entire company's culture. "People can learn," Catherine said. "Sometimes they just need the right example." Maria continued driving for Patriot Transport for 3 more years. She trained new veteran drivers, sharing her knowledge and experience. She became one of Catherine's most trusted operators, handling the most critical shipments. She never forgot what Ray Cooper had said. "Women can't handle these rigs." Those words had been meant to stop her. Instead, they became fuel. Motivation to prove not just that she could do the job, but that she could do it better than anyone else. Years later, when younger veterans asked her advice about transitioning to civilian careers, Maria always told them the same thing: someone will doubt you. Someone will tell you that you can't do what you want to do because of who you are or where you came from. Don't waste energy being angry. Just prove them wrong. Let your work speak for itself. And when you succeed, maybe you'll change their mind. Maybe you'll open doors for the people who come after you. That's what real victory looks like. Maria Santos had driven through war zones where every mile could be her last. She had navigated roads designed to kill her. She had brought supplies to soldiers who were depending on her to stay alive. Compared to that, driving across America was easy, but the principle was the same. Focus on the mission, execute with precision, never quit. And when people doubt you, show them exactly what you're made of: